I'll let you know once it is.
Hello, everyone. The seminar is live, and it's fantastic being with everybody. And a lot of people might be expecting today that this is going to be very easy, and it's something that's very simple. And citizenships are so simple, and we all can do it by ourselves. So you're going to see some twists and turns in the citizenship process, and especially if someone is new or someone is not basically very much acquainted with the actual world of citizenships, especially when it comes to complicated citizenship matters. We'll make sure that you learn a lot today. It doesn't matter if you're new to citizenships or even if you're at an intermediate level. And also, 2 weeks from now, the date will be given. We are going to have an advanced workshop on US citizenship, and that's meant for immigration practitioners who've been in the profession for a while, for more than 5 or 7 years. And we are going to discuss, taking your action to federal court, review of petition for nationalization and federal court, and we are going to talk about some other complicated areas, especially when there's a medical disability waiver, and if it gets denied, how you can take that to federal court. And folks, there are some amazing facts which will be coming in the next session. So, but before that, before we start today, it's a pleasure being with a very wonderful panel today. It's fantastic being with Rahul as usual, who's very good when it comes to kind of basically legal research and writing and training in MYLS. Wonderful being with Anjali, and wonderful being with Priyanjali and Sushant. So Priyanjali, why don't you do the opening statement? We call it as the opening statement in law. So we start with the opening statement. Then after that, I'll take over. Then finally, let's see who does the closing statement today. Rahul, are you going to do the closing statements?
We'll see.
So today's workshop, basics of US citizenship, plus some advanced issues. So Anjali, the floor is with you. And overwhelming response from people taking demos, overwhelming response from people signing up, getting the procedures done. So end of the day, it's not that expensive, and the ball is in your court, Anjali.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gehi. So first of all, welcome to all our viewers. Welcome, Mr. Gehi and Rahul. Thank you so much for joining us for the session today. So as Mr. Gehi told that today we'll be having some basic and advanced issues as well. And if you have any questions, you can address them in the comment section below. And we'll try to focus our agenda of talk of the conversation today in the webinar around the same. I hope all of you guys find the webinar helpful. And in case if you want to be one of our guest speakers, you can let us know. And if you want to have a demo with My Legal Software, which is a legal case management solution, so you can click on the click on the link that is provided in the comment section. That's a schedule your demo link, wherein you can have a one-on-one meeting with me, and we can discuss specific requirements. So Mr. Gehi, starting with the webinar today, we'll be talking about the citizenship eligibility requirements and can citizens be deported, deportation, and basically benefits and commissions of crime with citizenship pending and all of that.
So I want to make it interactive so people can even raise their hands, ask questions, whatever they want. We're actually looking for a lot of interaction from our viewers now. And I must also thank a lot of paralegals who are attending this session. Paralegals have been asking a lot of questions at times, and they've been recommending the software to, because some of them have started using it, and they're making it known to the law firms as to the benefits of My Legal Software. So first, folks, first and foremost, as Anjali said, if anyone wants to schedule a demo, you can book it on Calendly, I believe. That's what you do here. Anjali, how do you do it?
Yes, so the link of my calendar is on the Calendly. That is in the comment section. People can just go on the link and click on that and schedule the time accordingly.
Okay. And yes, so you've also been offering some specials for the new year, I believe, or what's going on from your end?
So today onwards, we have started the Christmas special offer, and it's not 30%, it's not 40%. We are giving a 60% discount on all our plans to the people who are signing up basically before the Christmas. So I hope that all of you guys go to the website, give your details, schedule a demo with us, and I think, Mr. Gehi, I think everybody should at least give it a try to the software to see if it fits their needs, because we have the document management, we have the
All right.
client management, we have the case
So what
management.
should we, so that's an important question. What should we give them as a gift? I have a great idea in mind.
Yeah.
If someone who starts asking a lot of questions, and if you feel that the person will also ask him the answer in return, and if someone can even answer questions to this, to let's see, we'll call it a legal quiz today for people. And if your answers are correct, you're going to get a copy of my book, Immigration for Everyone, which is selling very well on Amazon. So Rahul will see that exactly whose answers are good. And people, so today we're going to start that quiz also at the same time to see, test your legal knowledge. How's that? And you know what? Beat Gehi. Beat Gehi today is the message. So it's a friendly contest between some of our viewers. So your job is to beat Naresh Gehi today. And if you beat me on that, you're going to get a copy of my book. Folks, this is a friendly competition just for fun. Let's have that today. And you'll definitely make sure that you get a copy of the book. And we'll start getting people. Let's see who wins a copy of the book. And the more answers the person gives, the better it is. And he gets a copy of my book. And my book is very well known. It's on Amazon if you all want to see it. Immigration for Everyone. So we are going to keep giving a copy of the book because that book has a lot of information that you will not find, in many different places, especially for people who are beginning the practice in immigration law. The name of the book is Immigration for Everyone. You can even Google it, you'll find it. It's on Amazon, but the winner will get a prize. Let's see. All right, so citizenships, what do we do? Bottom line is that most importantly is how does the citizenship process begin? People start reading the forms. They think it's so easy to apply for citizenship until they find themselves in a difficult situation. Generally, what I've seen is that when you are kind of basically speaking to a client about citizenship, make sure that your intake sheet is very important. Rahul, what I'm seeing nowadays, immigration officers are kind of basically, some of them try to find a needle from a haystack to try to deny the citizenship application. And I'm going to come to those issues. And Rahul has a lot of talking to do with me. So basics of citizenship is either can be born in this country, you're a born citizen, or you can be naturalized in this country, or you can be qualified under the Child Citizenship Act. So we'll have a separate session on the Child Citizenship Act in future. But right now, we're going to talk about ordinary naturalizations and how do they happen. So today, the two topics are, when can you submit your application for naturalization? Number one is that if you are married to an American citizen, and when she filed for you is the word. Now, again, as I said, people will start learning here. When she files for you, and at that time, if she's a citizen, then you can apply after 2 years, 9 months. I generally tell people to wait for 2 years, 9 months, and 10 days from the date of the green card. So you got your green card, then after that, exactly, you can apply. Now, you applied over there. And the thing is that after the application process, you'll have an interview after 8 or 9 months. If everything is well and dandy, good to go, person becomes a citizen. Excellent. Need to have a lot of joint documents. Make sure that you're living in the marital union and everything is good, then you're going to be fine. Second thing is, when you get your green card under the employment-based visa category, or you got it under any other category, in such an instance, you've got to wait for 4 years and 9 months. So you got it through my employer, 4 years, 9 months. After that, you apply. And you're good to go if there are no adverse factors. Great. Rahul, there's another thing that people get confused with when they apply for citizenship. Can you tell me what that is?
Does it have to do with either not just length of residency, but length of physical presence?
Okay, we'll talk about that. Now I'm going to ask a question to your viewers. When can you apply for citizenship when your asylum is granted? Don't answer, Rahul. So this is a question to our viewers, and they can go to the chat box and give us the answer. So my asylum got granted today. Just got it granted right now. Lawyer says, hallelujah, congratulations. I'm very happy. When can I apply for citizenship? Any answers so far? All right. Doesn't matter, even when the show is going to be played on, what do you call that, on YouTube or something, you can also always send an answer to My Legal Software to see how good you are. Please do not go online, check the answer and give it to me. That's not right. I want lawyers to basically start thinking from the back of their head. So that's going to be the question, and let's see whether people answer it. So that the question for today is, if you have been granted asylum, when can you apply for citizenship? We are not going to give the answer out. So make a note of it. Anjali, if you could put that in the box so people can read that. Simple question, but let's see how many of them get it right. And whoever comes up with the first answer immediately, we'll see of who's really good. And please, please, please test your knowledge. And if you're really good, I don't want you to kind of basically, cheat or something, or go. It should be from the back of your head, and we'll trust you to see that you did it. So I know the answer, of course. But now the question is, you applied under the 4 year, 9 months, and you applied after 2 year, 9 months, and you got the green card, and you got your citizenship, you're good to go. But now the thing is that there are some other issues that may come in your way in the citizenship application. Now, take an example, Rahul. If a person does not meet the physical requirement of staying here, under section 316 of the INA, you have to meet quite a few requirements under 316. One is that physical presence, good moral character, and making sure that there are no adverse factors when you apply for citizenship. So what happens, Rahul, when exactly, take an example, that what are the physical presence requirements?
So the physical presence requirement means that in addition to having a permanent residence in the United States, you have to be physically present for a certain amount of time during that period. Even if your primary residence is in the United States, you can't maintain time. I think it ends up being collectively over those 5 years, about 2.5 years would be too much time outside to be.
Let's test some people's knowledge, and if someone can even answer in the chat box. Can someone tell us what are the physical requirements right now? Others will have to give the answer away. I don't want you to answer. What are the requirements for physical presence? Let's take a pause.
We're putting the question.
Yes, you can put that question in the comment box. What are the requirements for physical presence?
As a side note, this may be one of the topics that we're going to discuss in the more advanced section later.
Yes, we will be.
But
okay, anyone? Just give me a moment. And the second part of the question is that even if I meet the physical presence requirement, is that good enough, or is there one more prong to the test that's needed to be passed? So the answer is that there's one more prong of the test that needs to be passed by someone. So the second prong of the test is that the time spent by you outside the United States in a particular trip. So those are the two factors that are considered. And let me see if anyone wants to answer whatnot. Come on, I'm not seeing a lot of heroes over here answering. What's going on, folks? So I think I'll have to give out the answers. People, don't answer over here. So in this case, remember there are two tests involved because no one answered, so I'll have to take it, but I'm going to mention it. You need to be spending 50% of the time for physical presence in the United States out of the last 5 years. Am I correct, Rahul? I would always say a little extra than that, 1 or 2 days more, because, immigration is very nitty-gritty. Make sure that tell them, look at the 51% mark. What would you say on that, Rahul? I would always.
Yes, you should always leave yourself some margin for error. Immigration tends to be on the lookout for people who seem to be acting in bad faith and are only just barely doing enough to meet the requirements without actually being committed to their residence in the United States.
So my internal numbers look at a 51% of the time, not the 50%. That's coming from me. Or the law is 50%. But always be a little over when you apply for your client. You won't go wrong. And the second part of the test is also very important, Rahul, is that I've seen the best law is going wrong sometimes. They only look at the physical presence and they apply because, some people don't practice immigration all the time. And they are wrong because what immigration does sometimes, they said that if you had a trip outside the United States for more than 6 months, means you intended to abandon. Now, intended to abandon means that exactly you did not have plans of living in the US. So when you have multiple trips, which are more than 6 months, or wherein you're outside more than 6 months, the general assumption in immigration is that I think you wanted to abandon your residence in the United States. So those are the factors that have to be considered. But the statute requires that if you've been away for more than 1 year at a stretch, then of course that you cannot apply. Then you have to start the process again. And again, you'll have to wait for 4 years to apply for your citizenship again, 4 years, and a day. So all these things in citizenship can be very tricky. And when you don't do the right job, the client gets mad. And then after that, you lost the case. And therefore, I tell people that the most important thing when you're filing for citizenship, if all the factors are good, pay very close attention to the box that says, how long has your client been outside the United States and how many trips has he taken and the countries and how long he has stayed on those countries. That is going to be very, very important. And if that happens, in good shape. Yes, Rahul, please talk about
if I may just add to the risks that you are mentioning, you mentioned that these, among other adverse consequences, can lead to a finding of abandonment. So citizenship, if you apply without being eligible, you might not just find yourself being rejected, you may put your permanent residency at risk as well.
Of course. That's why it's very important to be careful, because I've seen officers who've seen, like, you can just say that you never intended to live in this country and everything. And the other mistake that people do is, Rahul, when they apply for citizenship, right? There are some serious errors that are committed by lawyers too. Always check whether your client has used any fake names. And if there is a deportation order on the other name, you're looking at big trouble here. And those people can be served with an NTA. They go back to court because we've handled complex litigation, and actually a lot of lawyers refer their cases to our law firm. When it doesn't matter where they are located, we've been getting a lot of referrals from these sessions when people are coming to us and telling them, hey, take up this case. So in a sense, be very careful. Ask the right questions to the client. Always ask them, have you ever used other names? Have you applied for an immigration benefit in another name? Now, Rahul, can you tell me why that is important?
Well, a few reasons. First, it may result in a finding that they're permanent. Again, a lot of these issues threaten your permanent residency in addition to just posing risks to your citizenship application. But one of the factors for citizenship is good moral character. And while it requires good moral character in the past 5 years, good moral character allows the citizenship officer who's adjudicating your application to look outside those past 5 years, especially for serious crimes like fraud or immigration violations. These can, as a result, even if they happened in the past under a different name, bring about not just a denial of your application, but significant other consequences for your client as well.
All right. Now, Anjali, can you display the citizenship form? And we'll tell people which are the key areas of concern that they need to look at. And Rahul will go through the steps which he feels are very important for people to go through. Rahul, show them the box, which one I'm talking about, dates inside and outside, and the no questions. And in the no questions, yes and no questions, they have that thing, have you ever tried to obtain an immigration benefit by fraud? Then I'll talk about it. So let the form be displayed, and we're going to tell you which are the critical elements. And these are forms from My Legal Software, which are very much integrated in the Immigration Speed platform. And you can show those areas so people can learn and they can understand where we are coming from. please display the form, and we're going to pinpoint some areas.
Yes, Mr. Gehi, I'm going to share my screen. And
all right, you can keep working on it. And Rahul, the issue is that it's very important for everyone to ask the right questions when they start the citizenship application. And right now, Rahul is going to show you the key areas. Now look at this as the complete dashboard of My Legal Software. And she's going to go to resources. She's going to also pull up a citizenship form, and you can pull up the custom forms, whatever you want.
should we start with the resources like the N400 form?
Yes, the N400 form.
Just a second. So briefly, I think, Mr. Gehi, we can also talk
Please go
about
down. Please go down. Go down. Go down. Okay. Go to the next page.
Yeah, just a second.
Go down. Go down, please. Yeah. Okay.
So
N400.
just wanted to show the
Yes.
variety of the forms that we provide. Yeah.
All right. So the thing is that over here, right, when we go down over there, Rahul, please get to that exact point which I'm talking about. That's where most of the mistakes are done.
Sure. So the time outside the United States section is on page 7.
Page 7. Go to page 7. Go down, please, and we'll stop you there. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is what we are talking about, Rahul. Can you talk about it a little bit at length? Why this is so important, and why do a lot of paralegals and lawyers go down? Now look at how intelligently they're put in over here. The officer looks at this very carefully. He's going to look at this. He's going to look at this. He's going to countries, total number of days. This gives him a very good idea of what he needs to do in the application. Please, Rahul, talk about this.
Yes. So as you can tell, they look at both the cumulative amount of time that you've spent outside the United States in the past 5 years and the length of time every individual trip takes. In addition to that, they want the dates of those trips. As we were saying before, one of the issues that USCIS looks for is if you say slightly try to skirt the 6-month rule by leaving the country for 5.5 months, coming back for 2 months, leaving for 5.5 months again, and then coming back for 2 months. A few years ago, we actually had a client who had done that and asked about applying for citizenship. And we had to advise her that no, it's actually a bigger risk to apply for citizenship because of your history, where even though you never stayed outside the country for more than 6 months at a time, your total time outside the country was basically designed to just barely comply with those rules for a period of 10 years. And we couldn't advise her to apply for citizenship under that case. The risks were just too great. So there are 3 things that they're looking for, as we said, both the individual time outside the country, total time outside the country, and whether you try to use your trips or structure your trips to get around those requirements in bad faith. And
Rahul, can you also tell why is the marital history important in case of citizenship? What does that imply?
Sure. So citizenship both gives you the right to petition for your future, for your spouse, and as well, in addition to that, to many people get their citizenship from their spouse, if their spouse initially was the petitioner who obtained their immigrant visa or permanent residence otherwise for them. As a result, both your history is both important to your own eligibility in case they wanted to examine for a history of marriage fraud, and for establishing the eligibility of any future person that you may petition for yourself.
Okay. And what happened in case what if the government actually finds out that there is a problem in the marital history, like the person married because only for the green card and stuff like that? Then how do people proceed for that?
So that is again one of the reasons that I'm sorry, believe you're muted.
That's a very subjective question. It all depends on the facts and circumstances of the case.
Okay.
And under 246 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, within 5 years from the time a person gets a green card, the government has the right to revoke the green card too. So be very careful. Don't take citizenship lightly. Or, look at it under a microscope. And always the other thing that I look for is the crimes, which is very important. And recently, someone called me recently and, was a lawyer who said, my client had committed a crime. So I told them that that doesn't mean that he cannot apply for citizenship. So we are going to go down at the bottom, go to the very end now, Anjali. And let's go to the yes and no questions. Yes. Now hold on here. These questions are very, very important. Again, on part 12. Very, very important from here onwards. The biggest mistake that lawyers do or the paralegals do, they take these questions very lightly. Rahul, this is where the good moral character comes in. And even if you miss it by mistake, and if a client commits an error because of you filed it improperly, you can be in trouble for that. So do not take the citizenship form very lightly. And, it's very important for you to make sure that there's a procedure that is followed. Have a good software. A good software always helps you to make sure that you save your data properly. And what my legal software does in our case is that when the form is about to be filed, there's a precautionary step in my legal software. They send it to the client and the client has to approve it so that you have proof that the client read it. So if something ever goes wrong, you can protect yourself by saying, listen, it's written in my software that you had a chance to review this and you are the person who committed the blunder. So therefore don't blame me. A lot of softwares don't provide this facility. And this is, one thing in my legal software. Rahul, your thoughts on that, how important that it is from basically a malpractice standpoint?
Right, especially if Anjali scrolls down, if you look at the number of questions that you have to answer accurately to get through the good moral character section of this application, it becomes clear that ethics and record keeping and doing a proper intake and fully understanding your client's background are important from the moment you start the case to the moment, or even well after it concludes, in case of, as Mr. Gay said, protecting yourself from the possibility of a dispute with your client or even a malpractice suit after your representation of them has ended. And as I think Anjali has explained before and can likely do well again, MyLS has a number of features that are designed to protect you throughout that entire process, starting with our case creation module, where many mandatory features force the person who's starting this case, whether it's you or your employee, to confront several questions, like whether or not the client has been deported before. And these, as we have previously said, can be adjusted as well for the requirements of your firm upon installation, but they ensure that you're providing all of the information, the necessary strategy, and that the records are maintained and kept there from the actual start of the case.
Right. So this is what I do is, Anjali, can you show us how you start a case on my legal software and how do you get to the citizenship application? And especially the case intake, what we do over here is create a new case and you're on the case. And after that, you put in the data over here. You have all the data here. Rahul, why don't you type the data? She can type the data. And over here, all this information, which is there, that populates on the form directly. So if you look at the good news is that this data, which is put over here, populates on the form. And once it's populated on the form, after that, once it's done, it goes to the client. And if the client commits an error, that's his fault. So that exactly you're not to be blamed for that. And also what I like over here is they have some other resources over here, wherein Zoom is also integrated here. Google Meet is also integrated over here. And then what we do is we take a Zoom over here. We tell the client, and this is within my legal software as I'm talking about. We go through everything. The client sees it. Doesn't matter where he is. That's the other beauty. So you don't even have to see him in your office. And you're done with the application. Then, yes. So what are these all sample cases?
I actually wanted to demonstrate how the forms look like because, sometimes like how we were looking at the form, sometimes the forms can be very overwhelming. So we have a special, client portal wherein people can go and basically fill the form, because we have divided it into different subsections. It's easier for people to understand on how to fill the case, especially for people like who are doing it, maybe for the people who are new to the system, or
People who are new to the system, people who are scared of technology, people who are looking for something that's very easy to use. So this is the program. It helps you on a step-by-step basis.
Yeah. So for an example, Mr. K, if you look at this I-130 form, normally the I-130 forms are very descriptive, and people find it very overwhelming. So we divide it into different subsections wherein you
Same
can.
thing with the citizenship form. It's all divided into subsections, and you can check everything so that you don't go wrong. And also, suppose if you go wrong, there's a facility that goes to the client that he checks it up and he confirms it for you. That's what I like about it. So tomorrow, take an example. If you committed the mistake, the client cannot yell at you and scream at you that it was your law firm's fault and return my money back. So I've been avoiding that a lot, because I tell them, listen, this is my legal software. This is your confirmation to us that you looked at it. That helped me a lot, really.
Correct.
So that is very important.
Yes.
Yeah, Rahul, you wanted to say something?
And as Anjali said, it really is a client portal. They can, on their own, input the information that you need in order to complete the forms and have them automated for you. They can upload the documents that they need. They can make payments to you if they have a past due balance, and they can actually receive the updates that you choose to give them without them having access to your internal case notes. So it's basically an all-in-one way for you to manage your relationships with your clients.
Also, as you can see, they have the billing invoice and everything. What is due before the citizenship exam? You collect the money, you're good to go. So now let's get to the next question over here, is that what happened now, Rahul, that you applied for the citizenship after 3 years and the person was living in the marital union. And when the person goes for the interview, the wife says, bye-bye, I found someone else.
Okay. So one of the requirements of the 3-year period of getting a citizenship through marriage to a US citizen spouse in 3 years is that you have to have been in a valid and good faith marriage, both at the time of becoming a permanent resident through the time of your citizenship. So it can actually both.
No, Rahul, let's stress the question. So you're saying that if she tells him a goodbye and when he goes for the interview, the answer is that he won't get a citizenship. That's what I would say. That's my answer for it.
Yes.
But now, now let's stress the question a bit. This lady, she's living with this guy. Now she found a nice, wonderful boyfriend. Now she has a boyfriend, but at the same time she's living with this guy. And this guy goes for the interview. And immigration finds out that she has a boyfriend. How should that case be argued?
So there, you also risk the possibility that they question the good faith.
This is what people learn from these sessions. Now, a smart lawyer can argue this case by saying it's you know what, I understand, but I am still in the marital union. I'm still married to her, and I'm doing everything together, what is required from a husband and wife together. But if she's out, my intention is still to live with her. That's how you can fight those cases. Do not give up on those cases. But the law on the point is that you are the applicant, you are applying for citizenship, and you are living in the marital union. So these are difficult cases. The reason I'm telling you, I've handled these cases in the past, and I've fought these cases, and we've been doing very well on such cases and everything. That can be important. Now, how about this? Man marries a woman, and this man doesn't have a citizenship. So she's living with him. She gets a baby from someone else. Now the person applies for citizenship. After 3 years, what happens in that case? And the name of the father is somebody else.
So again, the question is whether or not the marriage is legally valid and whether or not you entered into it.
I would still fight that case over here. I would say that doesn't matter. She has a baby from somewhere else. I'm still in the marital union. I'm living together. Here are my joint documents and everything is good. And you can still fight those cases, folks. A lot of people throw the towel, but a good lawyer doesn't throw the towel very easily. So it doesn't matter if, a baby is born during, during that time in between, she has a boyfriend and she fell in love with him. That's okay. Welcome to America. Anything is possible here. And that happens. At the same time, if you can show that you're in the marital union, you're fine. Also, you've got to be careful when your client gets a divorce. Now, one big mistake which is done by lawyers is sometimes when you apply for the removal of conditional residence, Rahul, and this is a question which is not asked by many lawyers, is immigration mails you the green card at the house without the interview. But before they mail the green card, the permanent green card, the other spouse has already gotten a divorce. And now this person applies for citizenship. This is a big issue. You will wind up in removal proceedings. Your client will wind up in removal proceedings, folks. So don't take citizenship lightly. There's a lot that goes on, in citizenship matters. You have to be careful. You look at everything under a microscope when you apply for US citizenship. So these are some of the most important factors that I've seen. The twists and turns in citizenship can be really, really kind of, heartbreaking at times for people. One other thing is that, Rahul, what happens, I got my green card, and if I commit a crime, can I apply for citizenship?
That depends on both the seriousness of the crime and the length of time ago that the crime was. More serious crimes that would render you permanently deportable even as a permanent resident, for example, aggravated felonies, would create a permanent risk to you ever applying to citizenship without
Now, let me tell you about a very interesting case, Rahul, about this. This is where even some of the most seasoned lawyers have gone wrong. Citizenships can become very dangerous, even for the most seasoned lawyer. Smart lawyers who are here, they'll agree with me, but there are lawyers who say that is not true. It is true. And I'm going to tell you why. For example, your client is currently living in your state, means he's living with you, in a great state like, California today. But before that, he was in a state where he committed a crime, and that state was Virginia. I'm also pinpointing the state. And over there, your client was caught with speeding and under DWI. The normal assumption of the lawyer is that it's a DWI and it was a drunken driving thing. Most states, if you plead guilty, will let you go. But do you know, in states like Virginia, that is an aggravated felony. So be very careful when you apply. Of course, I'm not going deep diving into the facts. In some of the conservative states, these crimes are aggravated felonies. And by mistake, also, if you apply, you're looking at deep trouble for yourself and as well as for the client. Applying for citizenship, when there's a crime, make sure that you look at it under a microscope. And if you're just trusting your paralegal to do that, you're committing a big mistake. Always let an attorney look at it and make sure that it's fine, and then only you should apply. And one of the other misconceptions that a lot of new lawyers have is that, the thing is that the state court basically said you can take a pass, and we just pled guilty to petty larceny, and now I've applied for citizenship and I should be fine. You're not fine, folks, because you pled guilty to petty larceny. You committed a blunder here, because suppose if you had another option, because that is a crime involving good moral character. So look at the twists and turns in citizenship. And if it's a crime involving good moral character, and that was committed during the good moral character period of 5 years, you're looking at a big problem out here. Rahul, what are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. And the one thing I did want to add is that it's not just the length of time ago that the crime was committed that you have to take into consideration. It's also the length of the sentence, which affects whether or not a number of crimes are aggravated felonies or not. Many of them require that the sentence be at least 1 year, for example, in order to qualify as an aggravated felony. And that's another consideration in both plea deals and in addition to that, in reviewing your client's criminal history. And for example, just as one, Georgia, if you'd like to look that up, I don't believe that we have time to look into it today, has sentences that have been interpreted by the 11th Circuit very counterintuitively
11th Circuit, right?
in terms of what does and doesn't qualify as a sentence or part of like a probationary period.
One of the most difficult states is Georgia, Virginia. You got to be very careful in those states. Even Arizona is not very easy when it comes to immigrants. So these are states wherein you have to be very careful when you're dealing with, when you're dealing with issues. Even Mississippi is not that immigration friendly when it comes to crimes and everything. Now, a few other important things that come to my mind is that when you're submitting the application, sometimes there are delays caused because you did not put the other names used by the client. That can sometimes become a big problem. And also make sure that you put the correct name. Can you change your name of your client during a citizenship? Of course, that is allowed. So that's a golden opportunity for your client to get a name change when you exactly want to apply for a name change in those circumstances. Of course, there's a lot we are going to cover, on citizenships. But Anjali, talk about, my legal software, immigration speed, and general practice speed of how immigration speed can be helpful when it comes to forms, immigration forms, the customized forms, and how that can be helpful, Rahul, in this regard, and in making sure that people cross the I's and the T's.
So recently, yeah. Okay, so in terms of the software that we're talking, like for the immigration speed software that is specifically for the immigration speed, I wanted to specify that before we talk about the products. And GP speed is what we have for the general practice attorneys. And the immigration speed basically focuses on the forms part, the auto population of the forms, along with that other integrations. And, it is catered to the needs of all the immigration attorneys. We have recently got a lot of feedback about how the forms are especially very easy to fill and how the organization of the entire case is very easy. I would also like to mention to all the viewers that we're running a Christmas special starting today onwards. We're going to announce it in the webinar today. We're running a Christmas special. That is, we're giving a 60%, not 30, not 40, not 50, but a 60% discount on all our plans. And if you want to get in touch or have a short demo about how the software fits your need, do give me a call at 212-390-9493. That's our number. You can also drop me an email at anjali@mylegalsoftware.com. And yes, Rahul, so you wanted to add something about
also another thing that we've been featured on AILA at this stage. We are on the AILA side also for people who want to see the software. We are also listed on the AILA website. So we're very happy to be kind of working together with AILA, as one of basically, the organization that's involved in this. So a lot of recognition, and what people like is that we have more features than you'll find in many other platforms. And above all, there's help from Rahul available over here from the company that if we ever get stuck with a legal issue, we try to help people out. So it's a great thing to take. And I believe the prices are very reasonable. In fact, at this stage, they're cheaper than other software, but you need to go for quality. And, sometimes you pay for what you get. So the best thing for people is to try it out and speak to Anjali, and I think she can, go further. So there's a lot of ground that, yes, please.
Oh, I was just going to tie it back to the ways that MyLS can help you both cross your T's and dot your I's and the benefits of doing so. One simple way is just through eliminating the possible errors of manual form data entry. If you can tell if you've entered the date of birth once correctly, that you can rely that the software will be glitch-free and that it will be inputted correctly everywhere that the date of birth is required. And one benefit of that is that in a strange quirk of regulations, if you incorrectly enter your date of birth on the certificate of naturalization and it's your error, not, I'm sorry, on your citizenship application, and it's your error, not USCIS's, then USCIS cannot actually do anything to change the date of birth on the certificate of naturalization. They're prohibited by law and regulation from doing so. And until Congress changes that, your date of birth on your naturalization certificate will not be updated. And one consequence of that is that if your naturalization certificate date of birth doesn't match your, say, Social Security or green card date of birth, you can have issues, or your client can have issues getting a driver's license in the future because of the discrepancy between their records. It can create a lot of problems down the line. These are, they seem like minor technical issues, but MyLS, helps you resolve them so that you don't have to worry about these very significant consequences as a result of them.
Yeah, because what happens is the client is getting a chance, because you're protecting yourself by saying, hey, listen, you got an opportunity to review these forms and you messed up. And therefore, the thing is that exactly it's not my fault. So, that's a good part, because see, as you all might be knowing that MyLS, I was the founder of it. We put a lot of thought into the development of this. There were lawyers involved, people like Rahul involved, and a lot of people were giving feedbacks. This is the difference between MyLS and other platforms. And even the people who are giving the demos, they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. And in fact, it's not like exactly like, we are just selling it. You're getting basically knowledge also coming with it. And if you get stuck, we are helping you. And besides immigration, we also have GP speed for the general practice lawyer. And a lot of our clients, our general practice lawyers too, who have been calling us and taking demos. So prospective clients have been going for it. They're looking at it. That's good. And also a few disclaimers. This particular program is general in nature and does not constitute attorney advice. Rahul is a law clerk and I'm the attorney. And this particular segment has no connection with Gay and Associates. This is an independent portal of My Legal Software, wherein I appear as the founder of the company, and my other companies are unrelated to this. So at the end of the day, let's talk further on this issue. Is that nothing in this constitutes specific legal advice. So another thing that people who have been coming to us, our software companies have been impressed with this product, and we are getting a lot of calls, because especially companies that do a lot of H1Bs, and they're doing a lot of sponsoring people, and even all these paralegal services have been calling us. But they can take a demo, of course, and they can call and talk to Anjali. And if they are kind of basically interested in looking at this. So even if you're a solo attorney, if you're a general practice lawyer, there's something for GP lawyers, which is GP Speed. And that is excellent for a lot of general practice lawyers, small law firms. And as you all rightly know, a lot of people are coming to us, our students who have passed the bar exam, and now they want to start the practice. Look at the beauty of this session. They have gotten the confidence. They are saying, now, I don't want to work somewhere else. I want to start my own practice. So we provide that level of support, which is very much needed for the new practitioner, or even for someone who's starting an immigration practice in their office. So all these are the benefits of My Legal Software, which you may not find on other platforms. So Rahul, time is flying. Yes, I think Anjali has to say a few words.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share a nice feedback that we got in the demo today. So we were having a demo with a client who was not using any software before. They were doing it using the drive or printing the files and folders. And when we were talking about the cost implementation, Mr. Gehi, one bottle of the ink costs $80, while our software is way more cheaper than that. And the client was like, I never calculated it that way. I always thought softwares are very expensive or softwares are very difficult. But when he saw the software, there were two lawyers, like their partners. So they were like, we never calculated that the paper cost and the storage cost and the ink cost is actually, it's super expensive.
Anjali, there's another thing, okay? I'm going to make it real simple for people who are watching this. Unfortunately, a lot of lawyers are not good at math. So that's why I don't blame them until you explain them. The other thing is that I have clients in my law firm, all right? When I start a case, when my client pays me by credit card, the good news is I do not have to pay the credit card fees. It has to be paid by the client. That is the best part of the system. So, for example, my monthly bill for my legal software is $200. I'm saving $1,000 because I saved on the credit card bill. I still made a profit of $800. Not many softwares have those facilities. These are things which are very much integrated and they can be very much helpful to lawyers. And I think the best thing for people to do is to schedule a demo. And I think the demo link is there, or you can also put it in this box if you want. And people need to schedule a demo to understand what the product is. And we want people to use it. Use it, then only you'll know the benefit of my legal software. Rahul, there's a lot that we can talk about citizenships. And we are going to, looks like it will have to a part 2 and part 3. Part 2 is going to be about exemptions and everything. That's a topic by itself. And part 3 is going to be about federal cases. And, that's for seasoned lawyers, of how to take it to federal court under 28 USC 1331, that even if you can file a mandamus, as well as an independent action for a petition for review before the federal court. So, and we'll also discuss about the APA, the Administrative Procedures Act, as to how that is so important when your case is stuck. And especially after the interview, if there's no decision within 120 days, how you can plan and take it, to the federal court to get a quick decision. So there's a lot that's going to come up from the citizenship end. One other thing which I've seen, Rahul, is sometimes the client is not very well prepared when he goes for the citizenship interview. And I'll tell you what, this is the big mistake that new lawyers do. They think that when the client is going to go there, the officer is just going to ask questions from the citizenship textbook. Is that true or is that not true, Rahul?
No, they are permitted to ask you anything about related to good moral character, your immigration history, or anything that might bear on the approval.
And above all, one big mistake what lawyers do, the new lawyers, I would say, except for seasoned lawyers, they do not go through the form with the client. Before the interview, please make sure that you go through the entire form with the client. That is a requirement under the law. Because when you're going to go in, then basically it's going to go through the form first. Do you know one other reason why clients fail the citizenship exam, especially when English is not their first language, Rahul? It's so
What's
basic,
that?
you'll be surprised. But these are mistakes that are committed when people apply for citizenships. Tell me, what could that be? It's so basic, you won't even kind of basically believe it.
Is it not having the form translated for the client?
No, so
You don't have
a
a
lot of
translator?
lawyers, right, take up these citizenship cases. And, a lot of the clients are not fluent in English, which is not really required by law, because under 316 of the INA, one needs to have a basic understanding of English from 390 at sec further on. So I can never forget this incident wherein the client started fighting with the lawyer after he immediately came out from the citizenship interview, and I was appearing with my client for the citizenship interview. Guess why was the client fighting with the lawyer? Let's put that in the quiz too, right? These are funny questions. I hope people start answering quizzes here. People are scared of what is it? Come on, folks. Spread the message that this is going to be a fun game for the future. This is how we expect lawyers to come in and chit chat with us and learn the law with us together. Okay, so this wonderful Spanish person started fighting with the lawyer because when he went inside the room, the officer was very nice. He started smiling. So our wonderful amigo who went with the lawyer, he started smiling back. So the smiles continued for 5 or 7 minutes. And the officer was talking, and this wonderful client of that lawyer just continued to smile. The officer was looking at his face, smiling 7 times. So he also smiled 7 times, but he did not do what the officer wanted him to do. Can you tell me what the officer wanted him to do? So in the end, the officer took him back outside the office with a smile and told him, please leave. So he thought that he passed the citizenship interview, which was not true. So the true story is what happened is that client went with a new lawyer for an interview. And this new lawyer didn't know that the first question the officer is going to ask you is to raise your right hand. What you're going to say is the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. So he was not trained or explained, or whatever the word you call it in law, prepared by the lawyer to say that's the first and foremost question you're going to be asked. So remember, folks, even the best lawyers forget the basics sometimes. And even, and then after that, the person comes out. He first came out and he gave a hug to the lawyer and he thought he passed the exam because of the smiles. But the lawyer told him, unfortunately, he failed you because you did not raise your right hand. So he's telling the lawyer, why the hell didn't you tell me in the beginning that exactly that I have to first raise my right hand when I go inside? So folks, please do not take your client's citizenship matter lightly. I hope that you all have learned a lot today. And this next session is going to be 2 weeks from now. Very important part of citizenship. There are tons of disability waivers. We're also going to talk about the mental disability waiver that gets denied and how can lawyers fight the mental disability waivers. That's going to be an advanced session. Then after that'll be the third session after that will be about federal court litigation of immigration matters, of citizenship matters. So Anjali has a few words to say and Rahul has a few words to say and about how important it is when it comes to citizenship. The next one is going to be pretty advanced. And the third one is going to be super advanced. Also, we're going to talk about battered spouses next time, when they can apply for citizenships. And that's another twist in the game that we're going to talk about when things don't work out. And when your client has a conditional green card, how to go through those things and how to navigate difficult issues that may come up in citizenship. Second one is going to be about what happens that basically, when your citizenship is pending and you get charged with a crime during that period. Yes, Rahul.
Yes, so I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for coming. It was a great privilege to be able to speak with Mr. Gehi and Anjali again. And yes, I mean, I look forward to getting more into detail about citizenship and, hopefully answering any future questions that you may have, as well as hearing some feedback about the questions that we asked today. But
I don't think anyone wants to win. No one won the prize today. See that? I knew that. And the question was very simple. When can you apply for citizenship if you have been granted asylum in the United States? Such a simple question. So let's see who's going to give us the answer and circulate the video. Share this with people. And remember, this is a great learning experience for paralegals, for lawyers, and even for IT companies, wherein they want to learn a lot about immigration and who use an immigration software. And even for people who are involved with US immigration or even general practice lawyers. After that, we are going to have a full session in January for general practice lawyers regarding the importance of ADA compliance, the American with Disabilities Act, why every lawyer has to comply who has a website in America. That's going to be for general practice lawyers. So next one, Anjali, you could write the dates 2 weeks from now. The medical disability waivers and citizenship. Yes, exemptions, age and disability. That's going to be the next one. And complicated issues in citizenship. 2 weeks from now, what's the date?
22nd December.
So 22nd before Christmas will be our next session. Then after that, we'll have another session and we'll continue the tradition of excellence. Anjali, you may say a few words before we leave. And don't forget to schedule your demos. You just need to click the demo link, get in touch with My Legal Software, and they'll be happy to schedule a demo. Anjali, you may give the closing statements, and I'll be happy to join you again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gehi. Thank you so much, Rahul, for joining us in the session today. And a special thanks to people who are watching us live or will be watching us in future. And we will be happy to serve you whenever you want to have a demo with us. I hope our software fits all your needs because that's how it is designed by our esteemed...
By lawyers for lawyers.
Yes, it is created by lawyers for lawyers. And the beauty about these webinars is that, Mr. Gehi, we just got a client confirmation about, they're going to proceed with the software because they really like the features and stuff. Similarly, these messages...
Folks, just to let you know, a retired judge cannot get better than that is using My Legal Software. So if you're a lawyer, if you're watching this, just take the demo and you decide, and you're going to make a difference. But spend that time. Don't take it on a day when you're in court. Just spend 2-3 hours. And this will be a game changer for you. And you will save money with the software. This is my personal belief. but check it out for yourself and you make the decision.
Yes, exactly.
And grow your practice, because I've grown my practice. And by the way, and I can bluntly tell all of you, I'm handling close to 18,000 cases on my legal software right now. 18,000 cases are in my database. You need to check how many of you are up to 18,000 cases. The magic was my legal software for me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gay. So be it 0, be it 18,000, be it 80,000, we are here for all your case management needs. And like I said, you can get in touch with us. You can give a call at 212-390-9493. Or you can also drop me an email at Anjali, that's ANJALI @mylegalsoftware.com. So see you in the next session. That's going to be on 22nd of December and 3 to 4 p.m. EST.
And don't forget the numbers 212-390-9493. And the website is real simple, cannot get better, mylegalsoftware.com. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.